All right, everybody, this is the WWE Fastlane review show, and I've got with me tonight YouTube's The Botch Guy. He's joined us for several other pay-per-views in the past. Always a great conversation, brings such a good energy to the show, and tonight is definitely no exception as we cover the entire card from top to bottom. A lot of thoughts on the Fiend, a lot of thoughts on the women's division, the future of the women's division, and Rhea Ripley and the implications that she could have as we get close to WrestleMania. The Botch Guy even has a very, very bold prediction for tomorrow night's Monday Night Raw that I think you're going to want to take a listen to. He has a very good track record of predicting things here on this show. So we cover that and, of course, a whole lot more. Let's get everything started right after this. So the weather's getting warmer, at least I know it is where I am here in the Northern Hemisphere, and that means it's time to head outside. Maybe you like to do some hiking and camping, go fishing, or even do some archery. I've got a great store for you with all the gear that you're going to need. It's survivaloffgrid.net. Pretty cool website name, right? Survivaloffgrid.net. On the website, they've got hunting and sports attire, everything you could possibly need if you're into fishing, wildlife hunting cameras, and even some odds and ends things like wireless earbuds. So go check out the website. Again, it's survivaloffgrid.net. Everything is very reasonably priced. It's very well laid out. Head on over to survivaloffgrid.net today.
Welcome to the WWE Podcast, your number one source for the latest in WWE news and straightforward analysis. Are you ready to get this thing going?
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
Then let's get this show started right now.
Hey everybody, welcome to the WWE Podcast and your official Fastlane review show. What a crazy Fastlane in some respects, disappointing in others. We go through it all with YouTube's The Botch Guy. Again, he joins us here every single pay-per-view review show. We recorded this. It is now actually Monday, early Monday morning, as expected that I'd be recording into the early hours. But want to make sure you guys get our reactions as quickly as possible. But before you do, go head over to The Botch Guy, give him a subscribe because he's going to be doing a live stream there, putting up additional reaction videos. He reacted to the Fiend's return, and we definitely cover that and what it could mean, and our reactions to how he looks, and everything else. Daniel Bryan's loss, but and even some breaking news that happens in the middle of our conversation. So a very eventful show. I hope you guys enjoy it as I know I did. I also want to apologize for the audio on our preview show. I left up a draft version of our audio for several hours where it was like crossover audio for the first 5 minutes of the show. My bad. Everything is corrected. It should be working cleanly now. So I'm sure I'll get some wonderful reviews for that over the next couple of days on Apple Podcasts, saying that, the audio was all screwed up. Yeah, I know. Okay, things happen. So it is fixed. And I really try to mitigate that stuff. But guys, again, thank you for joining me here on the WWE Podcast. We are here 9 times a week covering everything from AEW to NXT pay-per-views when they happen. We cover every SmackDown, every Raw, of course, and do highs and lows of the week, and even a special rivalries, nostalgia, and mailbag. I mean, we cover everything that you could want in a wrestling podcast platform, and I hope you join us on a weekly basis as we get closer to WrestleMania, which is just 3 weeks away. That's it. It's crazy. It always seems like it's 70 days away, and they show that timestamp on Raw or SmackDown, and it's like, oh my God, that's so far away. And you look up and blink, and it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks away, and you're like, how the hell did that happen? And this year's no exception. So it's going to be a fun time as we get closer and closer to WrestleMania, which is 2 nights, and I love the 2-night format. It's always, I think, a much easier to digest meal, so to speak, than just shoving everything down in one sitting. How about that for a food analogy? I'm hungry. But guys, thank you so much, as always, for joining us here. If you want an ad-free experience, head on over to Patreon and search the WWE Podcast, because that is the best way. For $1 a month, you get access to the entire library we have ad-free, and you get priority support, so to speak, or priority positioning, I should say, when it comes to our mailbag show. If you become a patron, you get your questions answered first in front of every other question and or voicemail. So that is also a little bit of a perk. You get a shout out on the show, all for $1 a month. Not too shabby. So head on over there and give us a 5-star rating and review anywhere that you can. It is much appreciated. So, all right, let's get to Fastlane, because I know there's a lot to discuss, and you guys are here just for that. Not to hear me talk about my own show, but rather to talk about everything that happened on Fastlane's show. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to let you guys enjoy this conversation. It's myself and the Botch Guy for about an hour covering everything, top to bottom, for WWE Fastlane. Thank you so much, guys. As always, I'll talk to you next time. All right, everybody, welcome to the WWE Fastlane review show with YouTube's The Botch Guy. You've heard him in the past. He's been with us for several months now, covering every WWE pay-per-view with us and doing the review show. Gotten a lot of great feedback, and it's with good reason, because his YouTube channel is blowing up and is one of the most popular YouTubers with wrestling, with good reason. So it's really, really my honor to welcome back The Botch Guy to the WWE podcast as we cover a kind of uneven pay-per-view in Fastlane. So how you doing, Botch Guy?
I also have a sick-looking neck beard also that you guys can check out on my channel as well. I appreciate you having me here. Really nice to be with you once again. We've been doing this for quite a long time now, and it's always a pleasure. I am the Botch Guy. I'm on YouTube. I do wrestling content on there. Definitely go check me out if you guys want. If you guys don't want to, that's perfectly fine too. Just check out this podcast. That's number one for sure. I will be actually, I got permission to say this. I will be live today at midnight my time. So that's Pacific Standard Time. I do a little bit of a live stream on my channel as well. So hopefully it'll be a good show, and thanks for having me again, talking some Fastlane.
Absolutely. And before we forget, or I forget, I want to make sure that everybody knows that you have another YouTube channel that's for Bocce. So tell everybody about that quick, because I want to make sure you let everyone know about that.
Yeah, we're almost at 2,000 subscribers, believe it or not, for my dog's YouTube channel, Golden Doodle Bocce. Actually, I post content on there quite a bit too. I know you're probably thinking it's just a dog. Trust me, it's pretty funny stuff. I think you guys will enjoy it. So definitely go check that out. Yeah. Golden Doodle space Bocce. Just look for the cute dog. You can't miss him.
You can't. And guys, I'm telling you this from firsthand. He made me pop with one of the videos. Oh, 15-second video about his dog. Well, actually, he spotted a bear, but you can go and check that out on the channel. It was really funny. So, Botch Guy, it is time to talk about Fastlane, the final stop before the WrestleMania event, 3 weeks away. I can't believe it is 3 weeks. It goes really quickly. But before we get into the details, and there are some really crazy things that happen on this show, some very disappointing things, but as a whole, how did you look at this pay-per-view now that you've concluded it and you have time to kind of digest it? How do you feel about the pay-per-view as a whole?
Well, considering it was supposed to be a nothing pay-per-view, the fact that there is some newsworthy events that came out of the show, we'll definitely talk about those more in length. The obvious one is the Fiend returning. Everybody knew it was going to happen today, so it was kind of nice that it actually did happen. They didn't just tease it again until tomorrow. And, of course, the ending, potentially setting up a triple threat match at WrestleMania with Daniel Bryan involved. So there is definitely some interesting things there. As for the pay-per-view as a whole, I thought it was a pretty decent pay-per-view. I think you summed it up pretty well. It was pretty hit or miss, but my expectations were so low going into this pay-per-view, even though the card I thought on paper looked okay. So I don't know, man. I feel personally it was pretty decent overall. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, to put a grade on it, I would probably a C plus. C plus, maybe B minus, kind of in that range. And it is a pay-per-view that going in, you probably shouldn't expect a whole lot from it. So anything that does happen that you don't expect, it automatically kind of raises the bar a bit, and your expectations are exceeded by default. But I thought this was a pay-per-view that was overall, it was okay. To good to kind of, for a pay-per-view that is, as you said, kind of a nothing pay-per-view, for a pay-per-view that a lot of people look at it as just an inconvenience on the road to WrestleMania, one that was actually branded as Roadblock, I think, a couple of years ago, because that's exactly what it is. It's just another step to get to the pay-per-view that we all just want to get to, and that's WrestleMania. It was good. It was okay. I have kind of varying feelings as you're hearing me talk, because there are so many good things about this pay-per-view and exciting things, a few of them, but there's also like, man, really? And kind of disappointment, and I'll get to that as well. But as we jump in, I want to just get into the specifics here, because we start off at the pre-show with the United States Championship, and Riddle retains, but not without something newsworthy happening of Mustafa Ali's group, Retribution, turning on him, giving him a double choke slam. That's probably the biggest thing coming out of that pre-match show or pre-show match, is not the fact that Riddle retained the United States Championship, but the fact that Ali has now been, I guess, excommunicated from the group. So what did you think about this?
Well, they've been teasing the Retribution kind of, I don't know, breaking up or changing their gimmick a little bit for a little while now. So the fact that it happened, I was kind of happy it happened. It kind of sucks that it happened on the pre-show. I was really hoping they would have saved that for the main show, just to have maybe a few more important eyes, I guess, on it. I think it's a good idea, splitting up Mustafa Ali, let him do something else. It didn't work with Retribution. And now the big question out of this, Matt, is basically, are they broken up, or are they sticking together with a new leader, or are they just going to repackage themselves completely, maybe take off the masks, do something like that, and maybe start their own individual singles careers or tag team careers? What do you think is going to happen with Retribution? Because for the first time, I'm actually interested once again to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say the word interested and Retribution in the same sentence. I'll be honest. It's very difficult. Those two words do not go together. Ever since they took chainsaws to the ropes, and I said, I don't know what the plan is here, guys. And I said, let's play it out.
Not
and
fan of the chainsaws?
Yeah, I mean,
chainsaws would have been funny if they just stood at the top of the ring with the chainsaws or something and then held them down, But when they started cutting the ropes and then they're cheering like they won the lottery, was the funniest thing, man.
It was. I mean, to be honest, I think what happens here is hopefully this group is disbanded, because I don't think this group has any legs to stand on at all anymore. They've turned into a parody of themselves, being that they came into WWE trying to take out the people that are here just for the money, and yet they're taking a paycheck from WWE to do the same thing, and they're taking out no one. They are the epitome of a parody of themselves, and I just have no interest in the group. So hopefully that these men and women that are in this group are repackaged, rebranded, the masks come off, and their re-debut as somebody in something else. I have no interest in seeing the Retribution group be rebranded or repackaged or retooled. I want this group gone and pretend it never happened. And I'm not saying that the men and women in this group should be scalded or any kind of discipline whatsoever. I mean, it's not their fault that this storyline was a complete just awful. I mean, I have a couple of curse words in my mind for but I'll stay away from that. It was terrible. So yeah, I hope they repackage them as something else and nothing related to Retribution. What about you?
Oh God, this is why you're putting me on the spot like this, because I would like to see Retribution be repackaged, rebranded, and try again. And the reason for that is because of a very selfish reason. And that is, I think they have one of the best theme songs in the WWE, and I would be very sad and upset if that theme song goes away, because I still remember when the Fiend had his entrance with Alexa Bliss there, and they're standing in the ring, and then the lights came out and the awesome Retribution theme song at the very beginning when they started off. And I'm like, man, this is going to be so awesome. And they started doing toilet gimmicks after that. So yeah. I hope they repackage them. I'm not saying they need to have a new leader per se, but maybe they split the masks in half now. Say like this is like just one side's justice, one side's evil or something, and do something similar like that, and maybe do a little bit of a repackaging, because I think they have enough talent. Like Mia's really talented, Slapjack's really talented. Like obviously a T-Bar, is a talented guy. So it would be a shame if they just kind of disappeared for a while. So I don't know, man. I am on. Let's ask your fan base here. Are you guys on the repackage bandwagon or just dump them all together? What do you guys think? I guess I can't.
Yeah, no, I like that. If I had a poll right now, I mean, if I was doing a YouTube channel, I could put a poll out there like you do. But
see, I'm laughing right now because I treated that like a YouTube thing.
You did. I know you're in the mentality.
I know. I'm doing a podcast thing, and I'm like, wait a second, I can't get instant reaction.
No, not instant. I mean, we get the mailbag, and we can have people call in voicemails and stuff. But yeah, no, I wish we could do some kind of virtual poll. But no, that's for the YouTube channel. But hey, that's no problem. I am interested though. If anybody is on one bandwagon or the other, email us at realwwepodcast@gmail.com because I do want to know which you'd like. So, okay. Well,
you should come up with an official hashtag, by the way.
And get it trending. Yeah.
Yes. And then when you have an official hashtag, when the episode releases, you'll be able to communicate with people through there immediately after the episode.
That is true. So, yeah, I like that. Buddy. I like that. See, man, always thinking.
Marketing director right here.
That's it. Yeah. Behind the scenes, he's really the brains behind the operation. That's true. So WWE Women's Tag Team Championship: Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler defeat Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. I don't really think that. I mean, some people probably thought that it could be two belts Banks again, and Bianca Belair and Sasha are going to go into the pay-per-view of WrestleMania as champions. I think that would have been a massive mistake. I see no reason that they should have won. I was fairly confident on my pick of Nia and Shayna, even though they showed signs of cracking. And I do want them disbanded after WrestleMania, and they will more than likely drop the belts at WrestleMania, that it was the smart choice to keep Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler as champions. The match itself was, it was okay. It was all about the story between Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. And they told that story about, averagely. I didn't love this match. I didn't hate it. I thought it was what it needed to be to bring the tension to a boil between Sasha and Bianca. The only thing I guess that I didn't like is how many times, and I tweeted this out at, by the way, wrestling_audio on Twitter. You can follow me there. I did not like how Sasha or Bianca has been getting punked out by Sasha Banks for weeks, verbally. Gets slapped and pushed by Sasha Banks and then stands there, and her answer to that, her retribution, no pun intended, is to point to the WrestleMania sign. I'm like, that's all you've got? Is this what we're doing now? So that's her. She's like, that's it. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. And she points to the WrestleMania sign. I'm like, I don't know. What'd you think?
Don't make me point to that WrestleMania. I'll do it, yep. Sasha. If you you slap me. That's it, Sasha. Yep. Here it comes.
That's it. That's how I felt. Yeah.
Oh man. This match did nothing for me, and this has nothing to do with the ladies. I think they're very talented ladies. I truly think that this match wasn't booked right. I thought it was sloppy. I thought it was sloppy through pretty much all the competitors. Bianca is looking a little bit raw here. I'm noticing now. Maybe I don't know if the pressure is kind of getting to her, but she's kind of stiff in the ring right now, which is kind of unfortunate. I'm a big fan of hers, and I was really happy that she won. So, that the Royal Rumble there, but I feel like something's off with her, and I'm not a big fan of the slow build with Sasha Banks. I'm not seeing any sort of crazy interest. Everybody knows it's going to happen. You might as well get it out of the way and start the actual build up, because, this small, slow build up with her pointing to the sign as a reaction, it doesn't do anything for me. And as for, Nia Jax and Shayna, they were teasing a breakup. I think it's going to happen maybe even as soon as tomorrow, and Shayna's going to go after the Raw Championship there. I'm not sure, but I think that's what they're going to be doing here. So that's my best guess. I don't know who's going to win the tag team championships. I don't know who's next in line.
There is no obvious team. You have Natalya and Tamina, who have been getting pretty big wins over the last several weeks. So there's that. You have Lana and Naomi. You have Mandy Rose and who is the other? Dana Brooke. So, there's really nobody out there that you're like, oh, it's got to be them. I'd love to see the Riot Squad, Ruby Riott, obviously, and Liv Morgan. I'd love to see them. I think they're well overdue right now. But there's no team that's very clear cut. I think it's going to be some kind of multi-woman match at WrestleMania. Probably like a fatal 4-way elimination tag team match, probably.
That's tough. Like, I'm looking at that roster, and I just don't see,
Nope.
I just don't see anybody that's pushed right now to the point that is even close to being a possible, tag team championship. Or maybe they should actually start seriously considering sending up some people from NXT and start filling out that division, doing something there, because there's really not much there. I know, like, there's some fan favorites like Naomi and stuff like that, but I just don't see any of those girls really pushing with a legitimate claim to the title right now. And honestly, even Nia and Shayna, to me, didn't really do it either. But I guess it kind of made sense, big bruising girls, you know what I mean? So, yeah, nothing really to talk about there, to be completely honest, this time around.
No, I mean, as far as the Raw Women's Championship, the championship that hasn't been defended on a pay-per-view in like 6 months, which is insane in the conversation in and of itself. I mean, you have Rhea Ripley debuting tomorrow night, and I think and she probably is going to get inserted immediately into the Raw Women's Championship picture, and and all of a sudden they'll go, "Oh, that's right,
she wins."
Yeah,
I think she wins.
I think so too, because I have, like many others, have looked at it as, oh well, they're just waiting for Charlotte to get back. It's going to be Asuka versus Charlotte at WrestleMania, and Charlotte's going to take the belt. And then it doesn't seem like they're going that road, at least on a one-on-one basis. I think Rhea Ripley, as you said, is going to get inserted into this. I feel like there's going to be a lot of like multi-person matches at WrestleMania, because a lot of times there's not clear-cut opponents for the championships right now. But it could be Rhea Ripley versus Asuka one-on-one. I just don't know where that leaves Charlotte at WrestleMania. I mean, WWE seems to be just constantly shoving Charlotte in a championship match. So could it just be Rhea Ripley and Asuka one-on-one? Do you think that they'll do that? Or,
let me clarify myself a little bit even more. I think Rhea Ripley wins tomorrow night.
Whoa.
I think she's pulling a Paige situation here. I think she's taking that championship to WrestleMania and facing Charlotte at WrestleMania with it. I am this. Remember how I called that crazy call with the Miz?
Yes.
And
I'm still mad at you for that.
Giggling me about it, and it turned out to be true. Here it comes. It's the Botch Guy YouTube bomb right here. Get ready for it. Rhea Ripley tomorrow night debuts, gets called out, or not in a called out bad way, maybe an even open challenge. Maybe they'll do something interesting with Asuka. She'll come out, she'll beat her, she'll take the championship, and then Charlotte will attack her, and you got yourselves a beautiful, beautiful feud leading up to WrestleMania with Rhea and Charlotte. And I think that's what they're going to be doing. That would build enough interest in her return and make her seem like a little bit of a star. So that's what I would do.
I'm on board for that. And look, I'm not saying that I wouldn't feel bad for Asuka. This would be the second time in a few years that Asuka has lost a championship about 2 to 3 weeks before WrestleMania. Charlotte did it to her 2 to 3 weeks before WrestleMania 35, when the women main evented 35 for the first time ever. Charlotte just grabbed the SmackDown Women's Championship. No explanation was ever given. And now you're proposing that Rhea Ripley do the same to Asuka with the Raw Women's Championship. Man, I feel for Asuka on this one. But is it a better story for Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte? Yes, I think it is. I think it's a better story for Rhea Ripley to come out. And WWE is certainly not shy about giving away championship matches on free TV as of late. I mean, that's just what they do on a weekly basis now, which I really disagree with. But they're doing it for whatever reason they think is the right reason. I do not like it at all. But they give away Intercontinental, they give Universal Championship matches away. They did it on Christmas. They give away WWE Championship matches. There's been like 3 of those over the last 5 months. I'm not a fan of it. But if it's to create relevancy in the Raw Women's Championship again, I'm all for it. So I like it.
And let me say this, man. I said it before, and I'll just quickly.
Yeah.
I think Rhea Ripley is the absolute omega superstar, like universal talent that they have on this potential roster. This girl is going to be, I don't care, I'll say it, this girl is going to be a Hall of Famer. I think she has the full package. She is going to win a lot of championships. If they mess up Rhea Ripley, they don't deserve benefit of the doubt in any single female wrestler ever again. Because what do you have? What you have in Rhea Ripley, you have a great wrestler, you have a great gimmick, you have a really good, genuine person, a great story, a good look. She's attractive. She can cut promos. Like, she is literally the full package. So if they mess this up, I'm telling you, I'm gonna take over this podcast and I'm gonna cut a 30-minute promo on why the WWE is garbage. Because if they do it, I'll be so pissed, man. I'm telling you.
Well, I think now I'm first of all that would be I think that this podcast would get record number of downloads if you do that. Number one. So I'm kind of like rooting for you in a very strange way for that to happen. Thanks, number two, I think WWE probably agrees with you, because when is the last time that WWE did video packages for anyone debuting or coming in up to the main roster, much less a woman up to the main roster? I can't remember the last time they did a video package, vignettes, week after week after week for a woman coming up to the roster. And yes, I'm all for equality, but I don't remember that ever happening, ever. So I think that you and WWE management are probably on the same page when it comes to that. I hope it happens. I'm all for Rhea Ripley. She is polished. As you talk about polished, she has got it right. Yeah.
She's perfect. She's everything you want in a champion to represent your company. And she has literally, and she's unique too. She has a unique look to her. She's everything about her. Yeah, I can talk literally about her for like a half an hour. She's my favorite. She's awesome.
Well, I think we'll get the chance probably the next time that we chat, considering that'll probably be in 3 weeks at WrestleMania. So there'll be
and
a
her
lot
entrance.
to chat about. Yeah. And her entrance.
God, entrance.
I mean, and her music. God, everything. I mean, really, I agree.
Everything.
Yeah. Okay. On to something a little less interesting, but it's Braun Strowman versus Elias, because Shane McMahon had seemingly gotten injured earlier in the day. Braun Strowman defeats Elias. Jackson Riker tries to get involved, but Elias goes down with the running power slam. And good night, the lights. I mean, I don't know what to say much about this, other than we knew that it was just going to be Shane versus Strowman at WrestleMania, and Shane is playing the heel "I'm hurt" deal. So, what do you think?
Yeah, it's stupid. This made no sense. Shane is not injured. He's fine. He's just getting ready to jump off something at WrestleMania, which is going to be fantastic. And I'm gonna mark out like I always do, and then I'll go back to really disliking him, because like I respect Shane McMahon. I respect him as much as I respect a lot of the wrestlers, because he's willing to do these crazy ass stunts, and he does this crazy, spot monkey type moves. And for a guy his age, I appreciate it. You know what I mean? And I respect it. And I'm saying it. If he jumps off something crazy again, like a pirate ship or something, I don't know. Like if he does something, like I know Kevin Owens wants to do it, but if Shane does it, I'll mark out. Okay, I'll do it. I'll mark out like crazy. But at the same time, I don't have any interest in Shane McMahon as a whole. I like his kind of style matches he's done, but I just don't like this storyline. But I'm not gonna lie though, I did laugh for about like at least 3 to 4 seconds looking at this shirt. Did you see his shirt that he was wearing?
Something about it was a mocking Strowman's shirt.
Yeah.
What did it say?
Stupid Express.
Stupid Express. Yeah.
It had a little horn on it.
Yeah. I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
I just thought that was kind of funny, to be honest. Just a stupid storyline. It's literally a stupid storyline, like quite literally. So there's nothing to talk about there. Maybe Elias gets a nice concert at WrestleMania, though. I wouldn't mind that for 5 minutes. That's fine.
Man, you talk about a superstar that has gone nowhere since his debut. I mean, that is Elias in a nutshell. I mean, he is the most formulaic star you've ever met. And I don't mean disrespect to the guy. It's just that they have done nothing other than the same thing over and over and over. He claims to be this musician that is a Hall of Famer in progress, and he comes out with an album, a legit music album, and then does his routine about running down the crowd, which obviously you can't do in a pandemic, but he comes out and he'll do his shtick and immediately gets interrupted. It's the same formula over and over, and I feel for Elias. But for Braun Strowman and Sheamus, I mean, this whole thing, if we
Sheamus.
all don't,
nice.
No, Braun Strowman and Shane. We're getting to Sheamus.
That sounds good.
I read Sheamus as I was talking about Braun Strowman.
I call you up. I'm like actually.
That's
thinking,
cool.
I want to seeing Strowman, Sheamus. That sounds fun.
That would be. I'd rather see that than Strowman and Shane. But Strowman and Shane. Don't forget, everybody. This whole thing started simply because Braun Strowman thought Shane McMahon was screwing with him, and then Shane just called him stupid. That's it. That's it. This whole thing is based on somebody else calling somebody stupid. So let's not forget that. Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, outside of Braun Strowman falling into last year's Universal Championship match, had Roman Reigns decided not to go home and be with his family during COVID, Braun Strowman would have the single worst WrestleMania appearances of all time. Yes, he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Yes, he tagged with a 10-year-old. I mean, like, Braun Strowman has really had some great. He has like a great regular season, and in the playoffs, he just craps the bed. Like, that is what Braun Strowman, outside of last year, out of luck, has had. So I don't know. I mean, we all know what we're getting to.
You know what's frustrating about Braun, Matt? Like, God, man, he was so fun to watch for a while there, man, when he did all that great stuff with Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe. And I even enjoyed the WrestleMania moment with the kid coming out and winning the tag team. Like, I thought I would hate that, but I actually enjoyed it. And I thought it showed some nice personality and some character to his kind of build. And oh, God, it's like, what did they do to him, man? Like, how do I dislike him when he is likable? He can be kind of likable. He's a weird one, man. Like, he's a weird guy because I feel like there is still something there that could be fixed with him. I don't really know what they could do with him. And that's a shame, man, because I don't want to see the monster Braun Strowman anymore. Like, I'm done with the monster. I'm done with him screaming and yelling. I want a personality. I want him to go back to be doing, stuff like a face, but like a nice, like, kind of funny, not funny face, but like a happy face, like something. I don't know, man. Remember at WrestleMania when he did the tag team match with
I know what you're talking about.
I thought it was cute as hell. It built a character, like a built personality. Then he had those backstage promos with the kid the next night, and he said, "Oh, when you're getting to grade school or whatever, you'll come back." Like, I thought that was really nice. I thought it built some personality. He has no personality right now.
He's very I see what you mean, and I'm not normally a fan of that kind of stuff. That's completely unbelievable. It takes me out of the moment with kids being involved. I mean, there's just so many legal levels of that never being possible. I mean, like, it's a PR nightmare. It's a legal impossibility. I mean, you talk about but yeah, right now Braun Strowman is the most one-dimensional angry monster you've ever met. I mean, he talks the same way with his mouth up to the mic all the time. And can he just not be angry every time I see him? Can like you said, I don't need to see him dancing or being a complete 180, because the problem is if Vince sees comedy in a character, you know what he does. He makes that exclusively comedy and ruins the character. So he needs to be very careful. But some kind of diversity in his emotions would be good. It's all anger all the time, and he's always yelling. His mouth is on the microphone. Yeah, I'm with you. There's more to this right now, hopefully, but I don't think we'll see it between now and WrestleMania. I think it's going to be the same old angry monster chasing Shane. Yeah, so boring. Okay, let's get to this next match, which I'll be honest, and this is the match we're talking about, the Intercontinental Championship, Big E versus Apollo Crews. I thought this was honestly a really good build, and Apollo Crews has really turned his career around in the matter of a couple of weeks. I love what they've done with Apollo Crews. I was invested in this. I was happy that they went heel with him, made him relevant. I was happy that Big E actually had a serious promo for once in his life, albeit he does need some work on it. He kind of has weird inflections in his voice, but it's the first time that he's really cut serious promos, and I'm all for it when needed. And I wanted to see Big E get retribution on Apollo. I mean, they really hit all the marks here. I was excited for this match, and I don't know. This kind of felt like a letdown, but I'll let you take the first reins on this, so go ahead. So the weather's getting warmer, at least I know it is where I am here in the Northern Hemisphere, and that means it's time to head outside. Maybe you like to do some hiking and camping, go fishing, or even do some archery. I've got a great store for you with all the gear that you're going to need. It's survivaloffgrid.net. Pretty cool website name, right? Survivaloffgrid.net. On the website, they've got hunting and sports attire, everything you could possibly need if you're into fishing, wildlife hunting cameras, and even some odds and ends things like wireless earbuds. So go check out the website. Again, it's survivaloffgrid.net. Everything is very reasonably priced. It's very well laid out. head on over to survivaloffgrid.net today.
Welcome back to the WWE Podcast. Let's get back to more great wrestling audio.
Well, so I haven't talked to you about the Apollo Crews gimmick yet, so let me just quickly say this is proof that if the WWE does want to write well and, potentially get a character who doesn't have a character and develop one, they could do it, because Apollo Crews is the best he's ever been right now. This is it. This is the gimmick we've been waiting for. It fits him perfectly. It fits with his family storylines. It fits with his gimmick. He doesn't have to be a super big bruising guy. He's kind of like a Black Panther type gimmick, and I really like that about him, because it's just a really cool gimmick. I like the spear he comes out with. I think it's kind of funny, but I'm a big fan of this Apollo Crews, and he can cut a promo, man, like legitimate. He can cut a darn good promo, and apparently they're going to be repackaging Ricochet here soon, so I'm curious. Did you hear about this, by the way, by any chance?
No.
He's going to be called Pretty Ricky. I think that's what I'm hearing.
Okay, so
he's already doing like little promos on it. It's interesting. We'll talk about that some other time.
Yeah. Okay.
But as for Apollo Crews in the match, it was botch. I hate to say it, but it was. I'll tell you why the ending was a botch. Because it was 3 to 5 minutes at the beginning of the match, and it randomly, abruptly ended on a weird pinup roll-up combination mistake. Unfortunately, the referee is probably one of the best referees in the WWE, so it is unfortunate that did happen. The announcers were confused. I think Apollo kind of was going to attack him at the end of the match anyway, so he kind of just improvised, did it nice and quickly to try to save it. But there's no way you build up Apollo Crews for that long, finally get this new beautiful gimmick, and then have him lose in a random pinup combination within 3 minutes on a pay-per-view, right? There's no way. I don't buy it. I don't buy this as storyline related. I think this was a botch. I'm not saying the attack wasn't going to happen at the end of the match, but there's no way they wanted to end it after 3 minutes. And that was a shame, because, Apollo Crews, this could have been a big kind of pop-out moment for him, and unfortunately it doesn't look that way. So hopefully the build continues now, and hopefully he gets his moment, because Apollo's so good right now, man. He deserves it,
Absolutely. This is, you talk about being completely uninterested in a character to whoa, over a matter of like 2 weeks. And even the fact that he adopted the Nigerian accent again, at first I was kind of like, what? Because typically it goes the other way, where a talent will just randomly drop an accent that they've been using for several months or years. I mean, Alana and Kofi Kingston are two examples off the bat that I can think of that have just all of a sudden dropped the Russian accent, dropped the Jamaican accent, and all of a sudden they're just talking normal. But in this case, he adopted his native heritage language and what his family really is in Nigeria. I mean, he took truth, as you said, and put it into his character. That's why this is working so well, is because it's true. This is real for him. Now, to what extent? I mean, I didn't do a whole thesis on it, but from what I understand, there's a lot of truth to what he says, with his grandfather running Nigeria, using a lot of the language his grandfather did. I'm loving everything that he's adopted, because it feels real. He doesn't feel like he's a fish out of water. He doesn't feel like he'll kind of find his footing. It's like he just got slotted in, and it's a perfect fit for him. The accent, the outfit. I'm wondering where those two kind of camo dudes that were with him were. I don't know. I was hoping he'd have some kind of backup. Because it seemed to fit him. If he's going to be Nigerian royalty, you would think he has some kind of guards with him. So maybe they'll come back, maybe they won't. But to me, yeah, this match was just weird. I was very disappointed in it. If it wasn't supposed to be a botch, and the very outside chance it wasn't, and this was by design, again, very small chance, this was bad. I mean, it was a bad choice to do it if it's not a botch. If it was a botch, shame on the referee. It happens. It's a pretty big mistake to have happen in a championship match on a pay-per-view, but If it's a botch, it is what it is. It's not WrestleMania. That's clearly where they're headed anyway. I want to see a real 15 to 20 minute back and forth match between these two that I know is capable of both men, and that's what I think we'll get at WrestleMania. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the promos over the next 3 weeks too.
Yeah, and I've always said this about, like, you know, if a person makes a mistake and a botch in a big match, like, yes, it sucks, and I'm sure, you know, he or she or whoever is doing it, you know, can get embarrassed on that moment. But you know what? Just like in real life with me, you, anybody, we can have bad days. We can have off days. We can have mistakes. I screw up from time to time too. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't say like I'm like, I don't think anybody should make fun of her, for example, because of and we're obviously not doing that here, but I'm just saying in general, like, just no one should make fun of her for, you know, making that botch. Like, sure, we can giggle about like kind of the weird ending on it, but not like individually target someone, because at the end of the day, like, everybody has bad days. You know, some have more than others, and she is, in my opinion, the best WWE referee by far, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, when someone trips in the ring or does something funny and or makes a funny mistakes, like, that's why they have like shows like America's Funniest Home Videos, and they have bloopers and stuff like that, so people can kind of giggle about it, right? Like, that's the whole point, right? So that's why I hope she doesn't take it too hard. I'm sure she's going to be just fine. It's the first time I've ever seen her. Like, maybe I could be wrong. Like, I could be completely wrong, and maybe this was planned and it just didn't look smooth. Maybe the wrestlers were off on this one and it wasn't even on her. So who knows, man? I just hope people take it easy with it more than anything. Yeah. No, but yeah, that's the end. That happened at the end of the match. Yeah.
Again, we're going with the odds of what probably happened of her screwing up. And again, it may not have been the case, but it seems likely, and it's whatever. I mean, because no harm, no foul, considering that's probably was the ending that was supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. She just did it probably 10 minutes too early. Yeah. And like you said, Apollo Crews improvised. He attacked Big E at the end of the match. Video packages will do wonders. Promos can do wonders. Everyone should probably just forget that it was way too short. And it's the same storyline that they wanted. It's just a lot shorter. So no harm, no foul. Okay. Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Man, you talk about going from disappointment to overachieving, in my estimation. Seth Rollins and Shinsuke. Now, again, when you look at this on paper, you're like, oh, well, Shinsuke Nakamura and Seth, this is going to be, this has potential to be great, but I don't know how much time it's going to be given. Shinsuke has been defined down over the last several years. So you're not super invested in him emotionally, but I think this match was, man, I mean, maybe it was just in stark contrast to the disappointment in the match before, but I loved it. Seth Rollins won, as he should have, because the story is driving to Seth versus Cesaro at WrestleMania. What did you think of this match?
I don't think anything of this match. Unfortunately, I was recording a clip video during this match. I did happen to miss the whole match, so I'm going to use your amazing expertise on this one, and let me know, how was the match?
Without going play-by-play, but I will say...
I want a full play-by-play.
Oh, put me on the spot.
Every single move.
All right, yeah, no problem. I'll get that right away. But you trust me, going from Apollo and Big E to this, it's a breath of fresh air from what had happened the just moments before. So Seth did beat Shinsuke, and no appearance from Cesaro. I thought we might get something, but we didn't. And Seth continues to roll to Cesaro at WrestleMania, which should be, a classic. It has the potential to be. Seth and Cesaro could absolutely burn it down, pun intended, and I think they could at WrestleMania. So, okay, let's get to a match that you did see in full. Drew versus Sheamus. No holds barred. I'm not going to say a thing. I'll just let you take it.
Oh, that was a hard-hitting affair. I could watch Sheamus have a match, like, at all times, every single day for, like, until I'm dead, honestly. Yeah, He is the absolute most entertaining when it comes to, like, beat down type matches in the WWE. And that's saying something, because there is a guy who he did face tonight, Drew McIntyre, who has a very similar makeup to Sheamus there. I love watching Sheamus. I think this is the best he's looked in his career in a while. I think maybe this is like the second best career, like, our year he's had in the WWE ever. I think Sheamus is unbelievable right now. I just love the hard hitting style. I love how they moved in the back. I like the white noise on the table there. I love the selling, the beatdowns, the kendo sticks. They really beat the hell out of each other, and that's what you expected going into this no holds barred match. And Drew McIntyre coming out looking like Braveheart with the blue face paint going on. I thought he looked kind of badass. Unfortunately, the face paint kind of came off pretty quickly, so that was unfortunate there. But another hard-hitting guy. I really enjoy. I love these type of matches. I thought this was the best match on the card. I just enjoyed. I love the. Are you a fan of those? Like really physical, hard-hitting matches? And do you like Sheamus right now?
So, number one, am I a fan of this type of style? Yes, because you don't see it very often. Today's style is very kind of flip, flop, and fly, and not a whole lot of selling in my mind. But this is a nice way to cleanse my palate, so to speak. I'm a big fan of this style. Not all the time. I don't need to see this all the time, but when it happens, and it happens on a pay-per-view that it's really the only match of its kind, I'm a big fan. Sheamus, I think, is a guy. Look, I'm a fan of Sheamus, as you said. Could I watch his matches as much as you? Probably not.
What?
You're probably a bigger fan of Sheamus than I am.
I'm a bigger fan.
I'm a fan of his physicality. I'm a fan of his promos are good. They're not ever blow away. Like Sheamus has never blown me away with a promo, but he's also never made me roll my eyes. So he's kind of just consistently just good. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with his entrance music, his look. I think Sheamus is the just your textbook badass pro wrestler with a good gimmick and a solid promo. Like he is, like I've said before, he is just the letter B. Like I think of him as just not a grade A, not a grade C. He's just good. And that's what Sheamus is. You can plug him anywhere. He'll occasionally visit the main event spot, but he'll never really be your guy. He's just the guy that you can trust. He'll put it. You put him in with anyone, he'll work really well. You can't see through his work. He is stiff, but he's safe, and he is just a legitimate badass individual. So I have no problem with that. As far as the match goes, it was, like you said, it was exactly what most people thought, but I think even more physical maybe than some thought. The kendo sticks, my God. I mean, I'm sure every time you can't fake that. Anybody that says, come on. You cannot fake that. The kendo stick is probably the most painful thing that either guy went through tonight. And the whole LED boards with the fans, LED boards being toppled over and the sparks going off. Of course, you got to have a little bit of a theater in there, but it's fine. Like you said, the white noise on the table, it was brutal. And the actual Claymore kick to the face, they slow-mo'd it. How can you? I mean, geez, you can't fake any of that stuff, man. I mean, they're not giving each other concussions, but boy, do they come damn close to it. And I give both men credit. They're clearly very comfortable with one another after knowing each other for so long. And I could watch them brawl on a weekly basis. They are really good together. Chemistry's there. The only nitpick I have is not even with what either men did in the promos leading up to this or in the match itself. It's the announcers that were trying to frame this as implications for WrestleMania. And I'm thinking, what implications are we talking about here? There was nothing that was ever stipulated. Nothing overtly was said that, if Sheamus wins, he's going to be the number one contender. Nothing. It was just, so if Drew loses, what does that mean? He loses momentum, because we've learned how much that means in WWE, right? Because we're always told momentum means something. It means zero. So, outside of that false narrative they were trying to sell us, I had no problem with this.
I don't think and I know this might be a little bit of a controversial statement, but this past year, I don't think there's been a better worker in the WWE than Sheamus has, in my opinion.
Well,
I truly believe he's put. It's even backstage. You hear these dirt sheet reports on Vince McMahon and then Triple H basically saying like if there's one guy they've been super impressed with this year that they didn't expect, it's been Sheamus, because he just goes out and every week he just puts his body on the line and just, it's not like spot monkey stuff, like it's straight up beat downs, and like he doesn't care for himself, and it's just a wild, like I wasn't a big Sheamus guy, man. Like this is a new thing for me. I've earned so much respect for him, and I agree he shouldn't probably be at the main event scene. But you said B. I would put him in a B plus. He's a B plus player.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's fair, more than fair. And man, I like watching Sheamus matches. I can watch him forever, man. I like Sheamus. What do you think about Drew though?
He's an old school. That's why he's like old school pro wrestler. But Drew, Drew. Look, I mean, I have no problem with Drew either. I think that there can be something interesting happening with him at Mania. Maybe we'll touch on that. Maybe we won't. I don't know yet. With Drew and Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania, because of the crowd reaction and how that's going to work. But as far as Drew as a worker goes, I think he's not as physical as Sheamus is. He's kind of a notch below, so that's where Sheamus has the edge. I think Drew McIntyre is probably a little bit more limber in the ring, probably can do a little bit more physically if he wants to in the ring. Sheamus is kind of very straight up, no nonsense, like you said, beat down only, where Drew can do a little bit more than Sheamus, again, in a more athletic way, I guess, than Sheamus could. But does he have the edge on promos? I think Drew probably has a slight edge on promos with Sheamus. I wouldn't put him a light year away from Sheamus. I just think he's a very solid worker. I think that Drew is a man's man. He's a champion that holds the belt, and you believe he's champion. You don't believe he's a corporate champion. You believe that he's a people's champion. I guess, no pun intended there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, no, I agree, buddy.
All right. Well, let's continue on here. We're going to get to Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton, but I'm going to save that for the end of our conversation here, because I'm very interested to hear your reaction about the Fiend's return. But before we get there, of course, Universal Championship, Roman Reigns defeats Daniel Bryan. I'll take just kind of my high-level thoughts first, and I'll toss it to you. I was really a big fan this match saved the entire pay-per-view in my mind. Yes, we had some other good matches. I loved the way that they set this match up. And what I mean by that is the pacing of this match. It was so much different than every other match on the card, from slowing down, telling a story. They reminded people you don't need to go 100 miles an hour and be concerned only with the moves and only with a reaction from fans. It can be about telling a story, and to me, they showed less is more. They did a lot of submission, chain wrestling. I love that stuff. Now, does every match need to be that? No. But when you have every other match on the card essentially feel kind of the same in terms of style and pacing, this one really changed things up, and I loved it. I love the way that they paced it. I know people will say, it felt too long. Maybe that's the only gripe. They could have cut it maybe a little bit by 10 minutes or so. But I love the way that they set this up. I loved the way that the ending played out, with some nitpicks, and I'll get there too. But overall, I think this was really, really well done. What did you think?
Thought it was a good match. Good back and forth affair. If people wondering if Daniel Bryan can still do it, yeah, he can still do it. He's such a good talent, and it just goes to show that you can put him in any sort of main event and he'll shine. Roman Reigns continues to be just absolutely incredible with basically everything he does, the way his mannerisms, the way he sells, hard hitting. I like I said, the chain wrestling. I was a big fan of that as well. I quite enjoyed that. I thought they told a pretty good story. Now, moving on to the whole Edge part of it, what was your opinion on the kind of I wouldn't call it a heel turn or anything, but like the double attack on Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, and then him doing the angry face when he left?
It felt, my instincts were like heel turn. And then I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. He's justified because of what he thought Daniel Bryan did to him intentionally, which we all know appears unintentional. And so I'm thinking, oh boy, is Edge actually turning heel? And like you said, the angry face, that's a heel angry Edge. If you remember Edge back in, 2007, 2008, 2009, before he retired, you remember his heel runs. And to me, I think we will see eventually a heel Edge in 21, maybe 2022, before he truly calls it a day and does hang his boots up forever. I think we will see that ultimate opportunist, that true Edge come out at some point. And I got a little flash of that, and I'm like, oh my God. But I think it's not really a heel turn given the circumstances. I will say it was a derelict of duty for him to decide to not be the enforcer anymore and just walk up the ramp. Had he not, perhaps Daniel Bryan would be WWE Universal Champion, because he would have seen Roman Reigns maybe tap out or stay at least until the end of the match. And Roman Reigns did tap. I think that's an important point to make, although it took until the very end, being put in multiple Elias locks for it to happen. And it was a very subtle tap out too. Yeah. Very subtle, which I think was intentional. It was intentional. And he could say, I think that's also the out for Roman on SmackDown on Friday, is saying, well, I never tapped out. That wasn't me tapping out. He'll come up with some excuse, because it wasn't overtly like, a very dramatic tap out. So,
man, I thought just, okay, so the tap out situation, it just goes to show when the WWE wants to do some good booking, they could definitely do it, because look how good that made Daniel Bryan look. And I don't think it hurt Roman Reigns at all, because they were setting that basically tap out the whole match, and finally they got it. And Roman Reigns, kind of was passing out with the tap out going on there, and it made Daniel Bryan look strong, and he was going to be the winner. And then, of course, Edge comes up because he got the attack right with the chair with DB right before that. He had every logical. It was a logical booked match. Like, Edge comes out, he's pissed off. He attacks Daniel Bryan, but he still hates Roman Reigns because that's his matchup. So he attacks Roman Reigns. He looks pissed off. He walks off. It makes sense. And everything about that match, even though I don't think it's like, it wasn't really video worthy. Like, I didn't make a video on it because I don't think it was one of those things that like, oh, that happened. It was just more like, that made sense. Oh, yeah. That's good. I enjoyed that part. Oh, that's a good ending. Like, I thought everything about it was well booked, balanced, a good way to kind of start off the thing. But the thing I took most out of that match more than anything, and I would love to hear your opinion on it, is Daniel Bryan being added into the match in a triple threat style. What do you think?
Yep. I think that's where they're headed, because could you say that, well, Edge and Roman one-on-one, well, where does that leave Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania? Like, it's 3 weeks now. There's not enough time to really stick him anywhere. I mean, what are you going to put him in an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle? I mean, you can't go.
A stupid match with Braun Strowman and the Stupid Express.
Yeah, the Stupid Express. Oh, God. I'm going to look that shirt up now. I don't know. You don't have a place for Daniel if it's not in the main event of WrestleMania. I think also, if you add Daniel Bryan to this match and you want Edge to win, I think Daniel takes the fall where Roman Reigns could save face, and you have Edge win, yet you also protect Roman Reigns from a clean loss. And I think that's probably where they're headed. I know that we're looking at, 3 weeks away now, and things could change, but it looks like 3 weeks away we will have a triple threat match. I'm a big fan of one-on-one championship matches in general at WrestleMania. I usually do not like triple threats. I do not like it. However, I'm having really, really trouble going to the conclusion that Edge should beat Roman Reigns clean, given all of the just great work Roman has done over the last 6 months as champion, or 200 and some days now, 203 days. Michael Cole pointed out that Roman's been Universal Champion. I have trouble ending that at WrestleMania for Roman, because you don't see a heel like this come along very often. It is rare that you have somebody of this caliber doing this great of work, and to blow it off at WrestleMania, typically that would make sense, but should you do it for a legacy star that's not going to be here on a weekly basis? As much as I love Edge as the next person, and I'm a huge Edge fan, Edge head, whatever you call me, I'm struggling with it. I'm really struggling with this. So what do you think? So the weather's getting warmer, at least I know it is where I am here in the Northern Hemisphere, and that means it's time to head outside. Maybe you like to do some hiking and camping, go fishing, or even do some archery. I've got a great store for you with all the gear that you're going to need. It's survivaloffgrid.net. Pretty cool website name, right? Survivaloffgrid.net. On the website, they've got hunting and sports attire, everything you could possibly need if you're into fishing, wildlife hunting cameras, and even some odds and ends things like wireless earbuds. So go check out the website. Again, it's survivaloffgrid.net. Everything is very reasonably priced. It's very well laid out. Head on over to survivaloffgrid.net today.
Welcome back to the WWE Podcast. Let's get back to more great wrestling audio.
I don't know what they're going to do at WrestleMania. Like, I hope they do a triple threat match because it's more interesting to have Edge, Daniel Bryan and Roman against each other. But at the same time, like that, there's only two ways of doing this. Roman Reigns, holds on and some sort of big Monday Night Raw, return or debut happens the next night, or Edge wins and they just continue to feud there with either Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. Like, because you can't have Daniel Bryan win with like so little of a push unless something happens. They don't want Edge to win and Roman Reigns needs a loss eventually, right? So it's definitely an interesting. I'm actually curious what they're going to do moving forward. And if Daniel Bryan is added into this, I think it's a much more interesting main event than it is with just Roman versus Edge, which I have very little interest in, period, to be honest. So, and that's kind of crazy because that is like the main of main events, and I am a hardcore fan. So imagine, a lot of casual things. It doesn't make much sense. So I think Daniel Bryan would be a nice add in there, and maybe you could even add a stipulation. Why not? I don't know what you could do, but definitely you could do something interesting there for sure. So that's basically my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. As far as Edge goes, it sounds like I'm a bigger Edge fan than you, which, it's fine. Ever since he returned at the Royal Rumble in 2020, I haven't felt like that about wrestling in a long time. It's hard for WWE to surprise me, hard for WWE to surprise you at this point in our careers of watching wrestling. And whenever they do something that's shocking, you remember it because you don't often have it happen. I mean, as a wrestling fan, you kind of see the writing on the wall a lot of times. So when they made that re-debut of Edge, I mean, it was just like, oh man, it was awesome. And his whole program with Randy was just really well done. COVID hits, which I think put a massive damper on their match, big time, more than maybe any other match on that pay-per-view, with their 58,000 minute backstage Iron Man or Last Man Standing match. I think that was too much for me. But anyway, back to this match. Again, really well done. Like you said, I get why you didn't make a video on it because it was just a matter of fact. Like you said, it was plausible. It was logical. It was exactly what it needed to be, and it left questions. And it left Daniel Bryan open to say, hey, I have video footage that I made you tap out. I deserve to be in this championship match at WrestleMania. I think we can see what's happening here. So, okay. Well, I think it's time to get to something much, much crazier that happened at this pay-per-view. And and I say match very loosely. This match between Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton, which we all knew was just really not going to be a match. We all knew it was just going to be a theater segment, and it was. But it wasn't done poorly, I don't think. It was done in a way that is as good as you could do for wrestling-style theater. I've certainly seen worse. That's for darn sure. I mean, we have fire come out for Randy Orton. Alexa Bliss summoned fire, a wall of fire. She shot fire at his face, just missed that. She's able to bring down scaffolding and just missed him there. She also continues to make him cough up a lung or black sludge or whatever she's doing, putting some kind of hex on him. And then a hand grabs him, a burned, skinned hand from under the ring. And I'm going to pause there because this is where things get really fun. Go ahead.
Okay, so first, the Alexa Bliss match. I thought it was pretty funny, to be honest. Like some of the things falling down, like she's shooting flames. Like, do you know what's funny with her? Like she's a prototypical anime character in real life. Like the entire time I was thinking, I'm like, what kind of funny anime stuff is she gonna be doing? Because she's like pulled out like so many of like old school anime gimmicks and even like no new school ones, like the whole Super Saiyan type change and all that type of stuff. Don't get me out.
Dragon
Don't
Ball
worry
Z.
about that. Yeah, it's Dragon Ball Z type stuff. And I don't know, man. I thought it was a pretty okay setup, thing. I like her character. I think she's fun to watch more than anything. Now, okay, so the Fiend, man, we've been waiting for this. We all knew it was going to happen tonight. I was ready. I had my reaction ready, and I did post my reaction on my channel, the Botch Guy, and I also talked a little bit about it. And because what happened there, okay, so they set it up with the hand coming up from the bottom. They grabbed Randy Orton, or he grabbed Randy Orton from behind, and his whole arm is completely charred. Okay, so I love that. He slowly comes out. The smoke is coming out. I'm like, okay, this is cool as hell, right? But then he does this really funny, like he stares at the camera. I'm not sure if you rewatched it, but he does this like corny little stare at the camera thing. And I thought that was kind of funny. But then he came up, and then we saw his mask. And I thought his mask looked pretty cool, man. Like, I personally like this new mask. I think it's nice. It makes sense. Storyline-wise, it's burnt. I think the fact that he was all burnt out, I think that's exactly what people wanted, right? Isn't that what people wanted? Mm-hmm. And the rest of the uniform was also in character. It was charcoal colored, had some burns on there. And, he helped, Alexa Bliss win the match. So I thought the return was perfectly fine. I don't think it was like, oh my God. At the same time, I don't think it was like, it was balanced. It was a cool moment. We knew what was happening. But I wouldn't say it's the best Fiend moment. Like the best Fiend moment still has to be like that. The greatest infernal match of all time. With the lighting, him getting lit on fire. And then the thing before that, when him walking while on fire, like that was the coolest thing ever. But I'm happy he's back. About time. They need him. They need him bad. But yeah, I was pretty happy with it overall. What was your opinion on it?
It was as good as it probably could have been. I was concerned that they were going to go a different direction with the Fiend's look, and they wouldn't do something that made sense, or God forbid they just kept him the exact same and didn't do anything, and he just came back with the same mask. I mean, I wouldn't have put it past WWE at times to just say, he's being reborn. That's what Alexa's trying to do. So he'd be the same. And no, this was, whoever is designing these costumes and masks for Bray Wyatt needs a raise. So yes. It is movie quality, studio quality masks and attire. It is really well done. It's kind of, I was trying to look at his mask, the way his face is and his outfit, and trying to compare it to maybe some kind of horror film. And it seems like it's a cross between maybe Freddy Krueger when he was burned, a little bit of Jason Voorhees, a little bit of also Leatherface. I saw Leatherface in here too. So it seemed like a mix of them, but then also burned. It's a cool look. The rest of his outfit is also very well done. I hope he keeps this look. I like it actually better than the Fiend that was prior to this. I'm a big fan of what they've done here. Doing what they did with Alexa or Randy taking the Sister Abigail and getting pinned 1, 2, 3. First of all, I didn't know it was an ODQ match, so I know that those are little details no one cares about. It was supposed to, I don't think anyway, I could be mistaken. It seemed like it was just a one-on-one match, so in this case, actually, Randy should have won the match. But that's all really small details. And the Fiend hits him with Sister Abigail, Alexa Bliss climbs on top, gets the win, and now we have the Fiend. Again, I was actually in the minority hoping the Fiend would not come back tonight because...
What?
Now, hear me out. WWE, for 3 months, we have not seen or heard from the Fiend outside of Alexa Bliss, who has been very, very good in her position. She has gone all out. She has been all in on her character. And they've dropped hints. They've done this and that. They've done 3 months of being able to tell the story between the Fiend returning and to face Randy Orton. and they couldn't wait 3 more weeks just till WrestleMania. And the reason I would say wait, if I'm a business and I am in the business of trying to get people to subscribe and really pay for a subscription to my network, which I know is on Peacock now, but why wouldn't you have waited another 3 weeks to say the Fiend's coming back? Maybe give flashes, at least silhouettes, something to hold fans over 3 more weeks. You did 3 months. You can't do 3 more weeks of waiting till WrestleMania. I mean, I remember when they did this with The Undertaker, when he was buried alive by Kane at a Buried Alive match in November. We didn't see Kane or Undertaker come back until March. And we didn't see anything from him outside of a couple of bell tolls. And I'm like, oh man, we have to wait till WrestleMania. But it also was like, oh, cool. We get to wait till WrestleMania. So that's the only thing I have. I'm in the minority of that. So go ahead. I know you.
I got breaking
What
news
is
for
that?
you right now. Brian Alvarez just tweeted WrestleMania main event is now officially a 3-way featuring Daniel Bryan, Edge, and Roman Reigns.
Wow.
So
and Brian Alvarez is, reputable. So, wow.
Yes. Pretty reputable for
Yeah.
sure. Maybe not the best in the
No,
world. But
I mean, like, yeah,
definitely pretty
with like
reputable.
Dave Meltzer. Yeah, I know. So,
And also, Andrade just literally got released as of right now as well.
they granted it. I thought they denied it.
Officially released as of, this is breaking news on this podcast. Pretty nice. Breaking news as of right now. They just announced it right now.
Wow. Okay. I'm it's not on WWE's site. I'm just on their site now. Just for the
It's
heck of
all
it,
on
yeah.
Twitter right now. It's coming up right now. It's all popping up right now. Cultaholic already has it. Wrestle Talk already has it. Brian Alvarez is posting about it. It's all official now.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So I mean, we kind of assumed that anyway, so it shouldn't be, anything that is earth shattering to us. But it is now truly official. I wonder how they came to that conclusion. I mean, I'd like them to at least explain it on SmackDown without just.
They won't.
Yeah, they'll just. Yeah, I know. I'm giving them too much credit, but
I found here's the official statement. WWE has come to terms on the release of Andrade. We wish him all the best in his future endeavors. That's it.
wow. And you see what JR said about him too? I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I actually made a video on that as well.
Oh, did you? Oh, geez.
Yeah, I sure did.
boy.
Yeah, so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. On
No.
the whole Fiend stuff.
It's all good. When you got breaking news, you got breaking news.
Pretty
You got
easy.
to
I thought it was big enough to mention.
WrestleMania main event's it's big enough to certainly interrupt. I mean, that's as big as it gets. So,
Are you a fan of his like the Fiend's not just his new gimmick in general, but what do you think about his new costume as a whole?
as a whole, I'm a fan. I'm looking at it now. I have a pretty good picture of it. I like it. It's like you said. It's what it should be. He was burned. It should be dark. It should be charred. We should see melted skin on his face, and that's exactly what this looks like. It looks like a burned Fiend, but like badass. This is as good as I could have wanted. I mean, again, I'm no costume designer. I'm certainly not. The creative part of my brain sometimes I don't think is there. So I don't think I could have done better. But this is, I love it. I really have no complaints about how the Fiend looks whatsoever. Do you?
No, I think he looks awesome. I think, like I said, I love the fact that it's not just the mask, right? I like that they went all low. He looks like a burnt zombie now.
Yes.
So my second question to you is, do you want the Fiend to start talking now?
I mean, we have Bray Wyatt doing it through him as a third person. I don't know how much. I mean, did he gain?
I think Bray's done.
Yeah.
I think Bray's done.
Oh, you
for
think
a while.
that? Yeah, maybe. Oh, you mean like the evil Mr. Rogers co-host the show? They need the Firefly Funhouse co-host.
Yeah,
I
think Bray Wyatt, the character. I think they're gonna take a pass with him for a while. I think it's just the Fiend stuff now. I think Alexa Bliss is gonna kind of take over as kind of like the manager now for the Fiend. I think that makes more sense right now, anyway. But I don't think Bray. I don't want to see like the Firefly Funhouse stuff with the Fiend. It's a different gimmick now. He's on fire. He's a zombie. I want to see something different, right? So let Alexa Bliss be the manager there. She's doing such a good job. Like, let her continue it. Maybe you can do some sort of cool angle between them and see what they're gonna set up in the future. Because what is gonna be the draw for the Fiend versus Randy Orton again at WrestleMania? Like, they need a a draw, right? What is it? What is it going to be?
What's the stipulation? I mean, I don't know.
Give me another Inferno match.
Like a death match. I don't know. I mean, like a pistol on a pole. I mean, because that's as far as it's as far as you can go now. You've lit somebody on fire. The next step is actual weapons. I've said this before.
I have an idea.
Yeah, it's insane. They'll probably. I mean, I don't know. They can't do a cinematic match like they did last year. They're going to be in front of real fans, 25,000, and I can't wait to hear their actual live reactions instead of pumped-in crowd noise. I can't wait for that. But they can't do that, so the cinematic is out, thank God. But they can't just have a straight-up wrestling match. A no DQ match is, I mean, it's kind of like, oh, well, of course it would be. Hell in a Cell, maybe? Maybe I know that they have a pay-per-view.
I got it, Matt. Are you ready for this? It's another Botch Guy prediction. Press that bell. Dun, 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 dun. Here it comes. It's going to be the first ever Inferno cage match. You are going to see it at WrestleMania this year. They're going to get a cage. They're going to put that damn whole thing on fire. Ooh. It's going to be brilliant. They're going to get thrown into the cage on fire, and they're going to sell it, and it's going to be awesome. And I'm telling you, it's happening. They're going to lock them in a big Inferno cage, man. It's going to be awesome. That's what's going to happen.
Wow.
I'm calling it.
So, whoa. That's the only place I can go. I mean, again, because WWE, especially at WrestleMania, you're not going to backtrack on what you've already done. An Inferno match is almost as extreme as it gets. So, like you said, if you combine stipulations, perhaps that is better. Maybe they'll do a Punjabi prison Inferno match. I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Can you imagine? No. Like, I know this is not technically Hell in the Cell, but like, even if you have like the whole cage on fire, like you could have the Fiend climb the cage. I guess maybe that would be more Hell in the Cell, but climb the cage while it's on fire, going to the top, and the cage is on fire, like on the side while they're on the top. Oh my God, it sounds awesome.
It does.
Give it to me.
Yeah, no. So you're making two bold predictions on this show.
Oh,
yeah.
Bold predictions. Neither of them are going to happen, but
Rhea Ripley's is more plausible. I think Rhea Ripley's is pretty damn plausible.
Cage match. Come on, make it happen.
Yeah, no, as long as the safety is, I mean, again, when you're messing with fire, that's unforgiving. You can't train yourself to take a bump on fire. So, yeah, I don't know. I think safety is number one, but yeah.
I'm sure they can figure it out. They had the Fiend on fire walking in the middle of the ring.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
Come on, like he was lit up like a Christmas tree walking. Like this wasn't the scene at the end when they changed the camera angle.
There was nobody there. They had time to,
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like this is gonna be live fans. So I don't know. I'm all for safety, but I'm also for realistic expectations, and I just don't know. I mean, we're going to find out what this stipulation is. This has to be something. I don't know if it's Firefly Funhouse. I don't know. Who knows? House of Horrors, but oh God. Okay. Well, I think that covers the entire card. Was there anything else WrestleMania related or otherwise that we didn't cover? Any other breaking news of sorts?
I hope this WrestleMania build-up gets better. It has not, in my opinion, been very good. Overall, I'm kind of disappointed in some of the cards that coming up, and I don't want to rant too heavily because I am kind of tired already.
Me too. Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like they need some spice, man. Give me some Rhea, give me some weird gimmick, give me some spice to add on to this WrestleMania card because right now it's I think it needs help. I don't know. What's your opinion? Do you think the card's okay, or do you think it needs some help still?
So WrestleMania for you is not back in business. It's not back in business yet for the Botch Guy. No. And so
not quite yet. And I'm always so positive too. Yeah, but it's been a tough year, man. I think it's not just me. Like I wanna say like, oh, it's just me, and maybe I'm just being kind of like negative right now. But like I'm looking at. Like I went on WWE's Twitter account, okay, and they have like multi millions of subscribers and followers on there, and they're posting clips of like the show that's happening, and the likes are like 300 likes, 500 likes, 300 likes, and I'm like, back in the day, you used to get like 5,000 to 7,000 likes for everything they posted, right? It's just the interest level is so low, and that could be booking, and that could be pandemic, that could be a lot of things, right? But in my opinion, the wrestling's interest level is maybe at an all-time low, and they need to do something. Of course, the crowd coming back will be a huge bump. because people are just going to be craving the crowd again, you know?
Oh, I can't wait. That to me is honestly, out of everything we just talked about, that is the biggest story to me. I don't mean to say that selfishly as a fan who's going to be watching fans and we're the most important, but after a year of no real fans in an arena, it's going to be the best thing ever to hear real people. I cannot wait to hear what people really have been thinking about everything that's been going on over the last year with every storyline that they have currently of how people react. And the other thing I do like to, and maybe you don't, but I do, and I think probably the majority of fans do, is 2 nights of WrestleMania is better than 1 7-hour marathon. I think.
Oh yeah.
Plus,
I'm all over that.
Yeah,
that's great. That's
like
great.
3 hours, and then you're like, okay, I can deal with this. This is just kind of like a Monday Night Raw, and then you're sitting going, cool. Now I get WrestleMania again tomorrow night. It's, to me, I'm a big fan of the 2-night format. And I know they're not going to do that after this year. Obviously, it looks like with AT&T Stadium in Dallas, and then they're going to Hollywood the following year for WrestleMania 39 or 38 or whatever it is. I don't think they're going to adopt this format, but that's the one good thing that this pandemic era has brought us is this 2-night event. It's so much easier to digest.
I think it's I love the amount of content and wrestling we have to talk. Like, I don't even know how we're going to do our podcast. Like, we have to figure out a way to do this because I have so much to talk about. I want to talk about NXT with you as well. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that would be a lot of fun doing some NXT as well because it's such a big NXT as well coming up. There's going to be an awesome match between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. So I'm really looking forward to that. That should be a beauty. But yeah, double night WrestleMania, always good for my YouTube channel as well. I'm obviously going to get a lot of videos out, which is always nice. Talk to my community and talk to your community and hang out. And I just want to say thank you once again for having me. It's always a pleasure. We do this every pay-per-view, and as long as you have me, I'll keep coming by and doing this with you. On the Botch Guy really appreciates it.
It is. Trust me, the pleasure's all mine. And with 3 weeks of WrestleMania, there is no bigger or better time to go subscribe to your channel, guys. That's the Botch Guy on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button here on the WWE podcast because he will be here every single pay-per-view. And with WrestleMania, that will be no exception. Like you said, there's going to be it's going to be a stupid amount of content to talk about. I mean, it's going to be crazy. So I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. Go subscribe and hit that like button and smash that subscribe button, as they say. I guess that's what they say now, right? Like I'm not in tune.
It's smash the like button.
Smash the like
button.
That
subscribe button. But you almost got it. That was pretty close. One day I'll get you into YouTube officially. You know, I'll get you really going. Okay?
I need to get the lingo. I'm like an outsider pretending to be part of the cool kids. I'm like, yeah, and just like I'm not doing it, right? Like I'm trying to do what they do, and it doesn't work. Okay.
And yeah, guys, and sorry, I'll most likely be streaming today as well at midnight. Yes. So if you guys want to talk more wrestling, midnight tonight. So I guess I don't know when you're going to post this bad boy, but from now it's going to be in 3 hours. So it's 8:44 p.m. right now. So Pacific Standard Time.
That's right. Yeah. So, well, that works out well for you. It is 15 minutes to midnight for me here. So, yeah, I mean, if you're going to be streaming in a few hours, those listening, go check out the stream and give a little love over there on his channel. I think that you'll enjoy yourself over there. And of course, don't forget his dog's channel, which is what is it again? Is it Bocce?
Golden Doodle Bocce. And remember, make sure you watch the full podcast here first before you head over there, so you can support our lovely podcasting friend over here as well. So
awesome!
Don't just drive over to my thing. Come on, make sure you watch this whole podcast with us. It's a really good show tonight.
All right. Well, you are on the fast lane here to the YouTube Botch Guy here. And I hope you guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Botch Guy, for coming on. We have 3 weeks until things get crazy around here for you and me.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Can't wait.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.